Hello, I'm Judy Stiles. Thank you for joining us this week on Newsmakers. Well, we often take a look at education throughout the region, and today we're focusing on the Joplin area Catholic schools. It's been a while since we've had a chance to visit, and I'd like to thank my guests for joining me today, Georgiana McGriff, Tracey, Welch, and Joanne Lown. Thank you very much for being here today.
Well, it's our pleasure. Thank you for having us.
And I think for the audience perspective, we'll give them some good background about the schools as well as, current news and what's happening. But I think we need to start off with maybe just some basic explanation. When we say Joplin area Catholic schools, what are we talking about?
Okay, yeah, good question. We have three schools, St. Mary's Elementary, and that's our preschool program, early childhood program through grade 5. Then there's St. Peter's Middle School, and that's grades 6 through 8, and McCallie Catholic High School, and that's 9 through 12.
In the Joplin area, how do you define that as far as a region?
Well, that's a good question. Many years ago, we reached all the way, and we still would. We still would reach to Pierce City and Neosho, and even over in Kansas. And we still have a few students from those places, but many fewer students. So McCallie is McCallie Regional High School. So I would say we go Neosho, Seneca, Pierce City, Carthage, Carl Junction, so that's kind of the region that we reach.
The Joplin region in this direct area.
Right.
Of course, we're about halfway through the school year as we're recording this program, so questions for those who are involved in the roles of principals, middle school and high school, and as well as elementary. How do you feel things are going this year for the schools?
At the high school and middle school, we're having very good years. Our enrollment is up at the high school, and we've stayed steady at the middle school. Our kids are very active, very involved, doing all kinds of things that kids like to do. We've been blessed with some new programs at both of our schools, and some very phenomenal new people have joined our staff, so we've been very fortunate.
So starting the year off strong. Elementary side.
Elementary side, St. Mary's Elementary has about 160 students, ranging in age from 3, which is our youngest, our preschool students, to 5th grade. Some of the things that we have done this year, we have introduced a technology curriculum that we are this year teaching in grades 3 through 5, and we're hoping to enlarge that program to the whole elementary school next year. We are doing all kinds of wonderful things within our school to build parent and community involvement as well.
Great. And as far as locations go, I know St. Mary's, you're on what we call the west side of town, and fairly new facility still.
We are. Our school is 5 years old. We're located on South Central City Road, which is on the west side of Joplin, but a beautiful and growing area.
And the school has room to grow out there as well in that area.
We do.
And then we move kind of downtown with McCallie and St. Peter's, but you have been traditionally part of the heart of Joplin.
Yes, we have been. We're across from the old Memorial High School, and both the campuses are located in the same block. Makes it very convenient for us to share facilities and for me to go both places.
Great. Now, Georgiana, when we look at the overall school system, they talk about enrollment. I imagine that's something you look at each year as you see the numbers change. And you mentioned the growth in the high school.
Well, right. Of course, our goal with anything is to grow, and we haven't done that in the past several years. Catholic schools across the country are struggling in quite a bit with enrollment. And that's something that we're looking at very carefully. As a matter of fact, in our marketing plan, I know the marketing committee just met last night, and that's our primary goal with marketing, is to seek ways that we can increase enrollment, and also, of course, within our schools, to do things that are going to draw more people to our school. So enrollment's a big deal, and of course we want to grow.
And when we think of Joplin, when we think of Catholic programs, we think of the Sisters of Mercy. So explain the tie between the schools and Sisters of Mercy in Joplin.
Okay, well, that's good. That's a great question. The Sisters of Mercy came here in 1885 and founded the Mercy healthcare system and the Mercy education system. And of course, we have Mercy Health System, and they're wonderful partners with us. They came here to help minors with their health care. And they found that there was a great need for education of those families too. There was a lot of poverty, and so those Sisters of Mercy came and established healthcare and education, and we're still focused on those philosophies, on those principles of the mercy system and the Sisters of Mercy. And we still have one Sister of Mercy, Sister Joan Schwager, who teaches at the elementary and at the middle school. So we're blessed to have a Sister of Mercy. Great system.
So a long history of those ties, working with the schools,
Yes,
tying that
yes.
together. And when people think about private education, especially Catholic education, they probably ask, what sets it apart as far as, obviously you have the religious aspect, but the benefits of coming to a Catholic school.
I'm a graduate of public schools, as are my children, but my husband is a product of Macaulay Catholic High School, as well as my father and his sisters. And I never really fully understood the beauty of a Catholic education until the last 3 years when I've been blessed with this position. But I think what sets Joplin Catholic Schools apart from any other schools is this closeness of family. And that's all tied together through our faith. Because as you would in your family, you talk about the things that make us who we are and that help us celebrate our differences, help us celebrate our strengths, and help us celebrate all the things that we can do and to be better Christians. And there are ups and downs, just like with any organization, just like there are within any family. But I think it's that the size, and of course we want to grow, but we're still small enough to be one family. And sometimes people say that's a blessing and sometimes it's a curse because you know everything about everybody. But that's the way it is. And you work through those things and you understand that nobody's perfect and people make mistakes and people have things that I guess you could call a weakness, but we help each other be better. So that's, I think, what sets us apart from other
educational
schools.
systems.
Yeah.
Do you see that tradition of families through the schools and elementary and high school level where maybe not only they go through as one generation but multiple generations? You're seeing children of some of the previous students?
Absolutely. I was at St. Mary's for several years, and then I left, but I'm back now. And when I was at St. Mary's, I taught for a couple years, and I am now the principal of one of the sons of one of the kids I taught. And her mother was a Macaulay grad also. So yes, there is a very strong tradition. All three of my children went to the Catholic schools, and I know that they are planning to send their children there also. We have families who've been there for generations and generations. And it's fun sometimes when you're looking at names and you start putting connections together and you don't realize that this one was related to this one who was related to this one, and it's really neat. And you can see our traditions and our connections even to Pierce City, to the Catholic Church and school in Pierce City. We have many connections there also. And I think, just to follow up a little bit on what Georgiana said, our regional, our superintendent of schools, who is kind of close to our community, pretty much said it very succinctly a couple weeks ago when he said, the atmosphere at the Joplin area Catholic schools is unique, but it's what makes Joplin area Catholic schools successful in what it is, because we are such a close-knit community. We go to church together, our kids go to school together, we socialize together, we support each other through business and industry. And it's amazing how many of our parents are very much involved in service work. So we can stretch that mercy tradition out
through the family generations and then down to the students.
Yes.
Imagine, we hear a lot about parental involvement in schools. Do you find that a lot with the parents and this family emphasis, especially at the elementary age when people want to be there with their kids?
I think it's very unique to any elementary school. I mean, that's when parents and grandparents are the most involved, and that's something that we're very, very blessed with at St. Mary's. Grandparents and parents are in the school every single day, picking their students up from their classrooms. They're helping out in the library during lunch duty, all kinds of different activities and extracurricular things. They are at our concerts and our performances and our volunteer work and all of our different types of activities we do within our school. I was visiting with a grandmother this morning on the phone, and her children went went to Joplin area Catholic schools, and her grandchildren are there now, and it's just a beautiful tradition that we have. And I think one of the things that sets Catholic Christian education apart from other private schools is that we're allowed to educate the whole child, heart, mind, and soul. And I think in today's time, with everything that's going on in our world and our society, it's more important than ever. We don't really have to have separate character development classes and different types of curriculum, because it's part of everything we do.
Overlaps.
Everything we do is reflected, whether it's in the classroom or in the community through our service work or in our church. Everything is tied together, and it's a beautiful partnership, and it is rooted in all things that are good.
Well, I know there's a lot of news coming from the schools as well. I want to share some of that with the audience. At the high school level, I know just read recently about a new partnership you have with Mercy. We mentioned Mercy's ties earlier in the medical side. So explain what that is and how that involves your school.
You know, we're really excited about this partnership. We have partnered with Mercy to offer our students the Project Lead the Way Biomedical Sciences program. Project Lead the Way is not necessarily new to the state or to the country, but it's very new to us. And the opportunity to be able to offer it to our students completely came through the support of Mercy. Georgiana was talking last year with Mr. Pulsifer, and they were just having discussions, and one thing led to another, and they were looking for something and we were looking for something, and that partnership formed, and it has blossomed. With our biomedical sciences program, we'll offer a new module every year. This year we started with the principles of biomedicine. Very unique and very interesting kind of class. The kids came in the first day and there's a crime scene set up. Anna Rodriguez has died, and we're trying to figure out what happened to her.
So they're investigating.
So they're investigating, and it's very project-based, it's very hands-on. Part of the beauty of it, and honestly, the kids right now are kind of frustrated with it because our typical student does not like to fail. They very much want to be successful. They are very driven, and in this program, part of your learning is through failure, because you have to try different things, and it's very hands-on. And they'll go to the teacher and ask a question, how do I do this? And she'll say, you know what, why don't you just see what you can do?
And learn by trying again.
And learn by trying it again. And so that's been a whole mind shift for our kids, and it's been really, really good. As far as the Mercy connection with us, they have provided us the financial services and the backing to be able to offer this program, and they have offered us their time, their people to help us come over and partner with them. Our kids are going to be going on tours over there. They're going to be coming to us to help with our labs and things like that. It could not be a more beautiful partnership. And I think it has twofold opportunities for us. For one thing, it's going to provide our students with a look into what healthcare really is and all the different job opportunities that are available in healthcare. And it's not just being a nurse or a doctor. And for Mercy, they are hopefully training some future employees. And that's what our goal is, to kind of have a network there so that we can funnel our students to the hospital in a connection that is all tied to the Mercy tradition.
Good. So a lot of partnership, working together and supporting each other.
Yes,
So
very much.
academic programs, sounds like you're looking for new and unique ways to approach things.
Absolutely, you know, and we want to be as progressive as we possibly can and offer our students every opportunity that they want to be able to be successful in. So, you know, we're really blessed to be able to offer this. The other thing that we're doing this year that we haven't done for a while is partnering with Franklin Tech. We have some of our students who go to Franklin Tech in the afternoon to do some of the classes over there too. And, you know, it helps students in what they feel they need to do to be able to be successful.
Right, because people take different routes
Exactly.
to be successful. Now on the elementary side, I think I read about a grant from the Department of Natural Resources. Sounds like that's an opportunity for kind of hands-on learning as well.
Well, our grant from the Department of Natural Resources is for a playground grant. Our early childhood playground is undergoing, as we speak, a facelift. We were awarded a grant for a 2-inch rubber mat to make our playground more safe for our students.
Right.
We are installing a custom playground this week. Their workmen are there right now, and as soon as that's installed, they will be putting the mat down. So it's an exciting new playground and area of learning for our youngest students, something that we'll be able to enjoy for years to come.
So it sounds like that you look for opportunities for grants and ways to tie the community into the schools as well.
Right. We have two wonderful volunteers. We have a lot of volunteers at the Catholic schools, and again, I think that goes back to what we talked about a few minutes ago with the families. It's a partnership with our families as well, because of course the grandparents and the parents are the child's first teacher, but everyone becomes so vested and passionate about the school system where they went to school, their kids went to school, that they want to help. So we have these two wonderful ladies who, one of them was an administrator there, her children went there, another one, her children and grandchildren have attended, and they write grants for us. And so I think we've got a little over $85,000 in the last year and a half in various grants. A lot of them have helped us purchase some specific technology. We've got some new computers in our computer labs. We've got some new projectors. We've updated quite a bit of technology, especially. But yeah, we've been very blessed with grants, and we're always seeking opportunities to improve facilities, because we don't get the money that public schools get.
Right. The funding sources have to come from within, or these type of grants to help you.
Right. So we have to search for those things and lean on a lot of donations and grants and so on to help fund what we need to do. So, yeah.
Well, outside of the classroom, you mentioned service. Talk a little bit about how your students are involved in that community service aspect. It's more than just, I'm going to go to school, study, and go home.
Oh, absolutely. Because this is the 175th anniversary of the Sisters of Mercy in the United States, we are committed to each school doing 175 acts of mercy. And those acts of mercy can be anything from helping cook dinner at the Ronald McDonald House to praying with a friend over a difficult situation, providing solace to somebody who is struggling, shoveling somebody's sidewalk, in the snow. And so our goal is 175 per school, and I think all three of us are almost all there. And so we plan to go over and above that. But it is also a requirement of all of our students for graduation that they receive 30 hours of community service each year. And it's something that we don't want them to tie to the school day or to the school program. So our kids do many things. We have kids who help with Camp Barnabas. We have kids at the Miracle Field who help with that. Who help in their parishes, maybe teaching not RCIA, but PSR, helping with those kind of programs. And so it is very much part of what they do, and they understand that. I mean, it's not anything that is, oh, I have to go get my community service. It's okay. You just say, okay, I need somebody who needs some help. Who can I have to be there? And they're there. And they're there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so it's very natural. It's very understood, and it's something they want to do, which makes it even better.
Now, do you start them off young in the elementary school with thinking about giving back to the community?
We do, and I think that's why it's so successful at the middle school and high school level, is they are taught not only at home but at school to lend that helping hand and to offer their caring and compassion to others. We started a new tradition on Veterans Day this year with our fourth graders. We did a drive-through thank you for all the area veterans. We were out in the middle of the snowstorm. That was the day we had that marine blizzard. All our fourth grade class was out handing out poppies to the entire school community, school parents and students, and then the fourth graders were serving coffee and donuts to area veterans that came. And it was called a drive-through thank you, because they didn't have to get out of their cars. We served them. Every student in St. Mary's had made a homemade thank you card for them, and it was a beautiful way not only to serve others, but to to start understanding the great sacrifice our veterans, our military personnel make for us on a daily basis. We are going along with that. We have adopted one of our St. Mary's families. Their son has just been deployed, and we as a school have adopted his entire platoon, and will monthly be sending out care packages to them. And so it starts young, but it's something that is not necessarily taught at St. Mary's, but it is reinforced because their parents do a beautiful job of teaching the importance of taking our faith and putting it into action.
It becomes that tradition carries on throughout their life.
It really does, and I marvel many times that somebody will come and say, I have this need or I have that need, and they may be overwhelmed with what that need is. But we can tell our students, we can say, hey, we need to do this, or we have a family that needs some financial support, and without blinking an eye, they do it and love to do it and feel blessed to be able to have that opportunity.
So really that giving becomes a natural for them.
You know, and if I could add to that, it's not just, we've talked about the students and the families, but it's also the staff. It's an atmosphere of everybody. You just say one thing and the staff says, oh, I've got that, or I can take care of that, or no matter what building it is. And it's just kind of a, I'll never forget one of the very first things that I noticed whenever I walked into Macaulay was the kids just came up to me, introduced themselves, shook my hand, welcome. It's just this wonderful atmosphere of we're here to help you with whatever you need help with. And that comes from the staff, the family, the parents, the administrators, the volunteers, the different committees we have. Everyone is just very committed to helping Joplin area Catholic schools be wonderful and better.
So working together as we talked about doing things. And I know in addition to the classroom and volunteering, you have extracurricular activities, and you have a sports tie this year actually to Missouri Southern.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Again, this was kind of a unique opportunity. We were having a meal together after one of our board meetings, and Mary Ann Mitz was there, and we had recently lost our basketball coach, our high school basketball coach, and I just very casually said to Mary Ann, hey, why don't you come coach basketball? And she said,
Planted that idea.
And before we knew it, she was on board, and so Mary Ann Mitz is our head boys basketball coach this year, and she's kind of taken over the basketball program for us to help it to grow and to develop. And we some of the people thought, you're having a woman coach your boys basketball, and I said, well, we have a man coaching our girls basketball, so what's the difference? It's basketball. And it has amazed me how much the team, the parents, the community have just really rallied behind us and are helping us with this. And to watch her on the court with those boys, it's just absolutely amazing. Being a very strong Catholic herself, she is embraced this opportunity to help these boys, not only with basketball, of course, that's what it's, that's the conduit for it.
Right.
But she is helping them to grow and mature as strong, committed young men. But to watch her cheer them on from the side, and she pushes them and she pushes them, and they love it. And it's been great. It has absolutely been great. And our crowds, our supporters fill the gym when we're there, and it's really cool.
That's great. Well, speaking of the support, I know that you talked about alumni and graduates. If someone comes in and shares memories with you, I went to school here 15, 20 years ago, what are some of the key points they bring up for you? I remember coming to these schools.
Well, they bring up, they talk a lot about the Sisters of Mercy. And because, 30 years ago, even when my husband was there, he graduated in '78, there were a lot of sisters there, a lot of nuns, and they all talk about their mannerisms, and they talk about, the families, the ones from Pierce City. We used to have a lot of people from Carthage who would attend, and they talk about the memories. My husband we had a little reunion, a very small reunion at our house, and I was sitting in the other room, but every time I would come in, they'd talk about the memories, talk about the family, talk about the families, because again, to go back to it, it's that close-knit relationship that you have not only when you're in school, but even though you're not best friends whenever you graduate, or after you graduate, you lose contact, but it's like it just pulls you back because of that closeness. And so I think those are some of the best memories they have, the things they did. And then coming back, there's this bond. And that's one of the things that I've noticed with my husband, those guys and gals that he went to high school with, even today, I know that if he said jump, they'd say how high, and they'd all be right there with him, supporting each other. And again, it's that closeness, and that's what I think is so beautiful about our school system. And like Joanne said a few minutes ago, today it just seems like you hear another news story about some terrible thing that's happened, but that family atmosphere is so very important always, but in today's society, I think that's just key to a successful life.
And I think so much of what we have in our schools begins with our faculty and staff. And we have such qualified and caring teachers in our school. And I'm most familiar with, of course, St. Mary's, but teachers that care not only about the academic success of their students, but what's going on in their lives and how they're feeling. And I mean, each teacher is so involved and committed to that student's success, and the students know it. I mean, I truly feel that our students know how greatly they're loved and cared for when they're within our schools. And the teachers are just phenomenal.
And many of our teachers are alumni.
So they went to school, they came back to teach.
Oh, yeah,
many
they
of
want to
them.
be back there.
And I think it's really important to mention that, you know, our teachers don't make as much as teachers in the public school do. But we've had teachers that have been there for years and years and years. And when you go to teach in our schools, you go there because it's your calling, it is your vocation, it's something that you want to do. We had a teacher come back this year who had been retired for several years, and when he came back, he said, I just knew this was the time and this was the place. And so he came out of retirement to come and help us. Phenomenal teacher. We're blessed. We're truly blessed.
Well, I know that you have a website, and if people are interested, it's jacss.org.
Right.
So they can go to that and give you information about some more details, obviously more than what we've been able to talk about today.
Right.
But I'd like to thank the three of you for joining us today for Newsmakers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having
It's our
us.
pleasure.
Opportunity.
And I'd like to thank the viewers for joining us this week as well. I'm Judy Stiles. Hope you can join me again next week at the same time on the station. We'll see you then.